So much to get to and so little time. It's a special edition of At the Buzzer here this week. I know, we've been gone a couple of weeks. That's okay. As you can see, my partner in crime, my PIC, is back in the co-pilot's chair. It's G. How you doing tonight, G?
Doing good, man. I'm finally in one spot. I'm back here on solid ground after the privilege of being on the other side of the continent for about 2 weeks. It feels like, and I guess it was about that. So yeah, I'm back. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling centered. I'm ready to take in some NBA that I had zero access to for the entire time. So I really had to do some catching up. But it was all good.
Well,
I'm
I guess the listeners want to know if you brought any golf energy back with you.
No, man, my bag came back empty. No golf clubs. I just straight. What came back was straight Mysterio energy, right? We got the
There you
Lucha League.
go.
You know,
That's what we
shout out,
need.
shout out to the Mayan family that took me in on the first night there and had some laughs, and they love their wrestling down there, as you know.
Yeah, and I'm a huge wrestling fan, but we're not here to talk wrestling tonight. We got some hoops to get to, and we got a lot to get to in a very short amount of time because we're gonna play some catch up today.
Hmm.
Rapid fire. Mark Cuban sells the Dallas Mavericks.
Man, yeah, that's huge. What's your first response?
I think it was a mistake on his part. I
Mm,
think I think for two reasons. One, Mark Cuban strikes me as the kind of guy that needs control of what he's doing, and
mhm,
he just gave that up.
mhm,
And number two, generally when somebody buys a team, they want their people in there running it. Now, I'm sure Cuban has some safeguards in place for a limited amount of time, but as
mm.
soon as that exclusivity window closes on Cuban, I'm worried he might be out as the Dallas Mavericks head man. Those are just my two concerns as far as Cuban selling the team.
Let me ask just quickly for clarification. What is his role still before, while not
He
being
he
owner?
still runs the day. He still runs the day-to-day operations of the
Oh,
Mavericks.
interesting, interesting. Okay, now I completely see what you're saying there. Yeah. Mm, interesting moves afoot. Do you think it was a purely business decision, like sell high? This is as high as it's going to get for a few years. Just
Well, he
pure,
got 3.5 billion.
and he probably got that for under a bill.
He bought the Mavs for 285.
All right, respect, and that's wild. Like that's at the
She's like,
top.
she's like, we're in the wrong business.
I'm gonna break out that picture of me and Mark Cuban and start sending it to him, saying, "Man, we're related. You remember me, man?"
What are your
Yeah.
thoughts on Mr. Cuban giving up control of the Dallas Mavericks?
Well, you know what? As much as I talk trash about Dallas, I think you know individual overall. He's a funny person. He's always been willing to talk to the press in some capacity, whether it was begrudgingly and giving them sort of attitude, or he was celebrating his team. He's a character, right? And he wasn't as violent or vicious a character as some owners that we've seen in the past. The Donald Sterlings of the world. I mean, there's some pretty rough owners out there, and he seemed like a pretty entertaining, fun dude that would at least talk to anybody. Like I literally do have a picture of the night where we were just meeting some of the Mavericks because of the German connection in high school, and he was just a friendly, straight-ahead guy. So selling at the top when you made that much money on it, I say just respect. Whatever his reasons are, respect.
I can dig it. And
Yeah.
We have a couple other things to get to, and I'm only bringing this up because people will hammer me in the comments if I don't. The in-season tournament is now over. The NBA Cup has been awarded. To me, it's just a piece of tin, even though my team won the thing.
So did it?
Your first impressions of the NBA Cup now that it's completed.
I guess I was curious more than anything if it went out with a whimper or a bang. Like, did the event and the final game feel like it was watched around the world? Did it feel like it had electricity to it? Did it feel kind of like, yeah, everybody
The
paying
Lakers
attention?
were in control. The Lakers were in control most of the way through. Like, I
And yeah,
don't think it was ever in doubt as to what would happen in
mm,
said game.
yeah.
But
I don't know if it's a great look from optics wise for the NBA of having the Lakers win it. Um, honestly, I think they could like Lakers are already guaranteed bank. You already got them. You know, so if they legitimately just overpowered everybody and they had the hardest division or whatever, and you know, much respect them. But if you had your choice as the NBA, I personally would have hoped for another team to win just based on it being an opportunity to showcase another squad that's playing high level basketball right now. But I didn't get to see the games leading up. So if the Lakers just turned the Jets on and kicked everybody's uh, rear all over the place, then I, I respect it. And
well, they did beat the Suns twice in this tournament.
yeah, okay. And Suns, yeah, are one of those high level teams that people are curious about. And watching the Mavs versus Lakers, not to jump ahead, but I got a taste of where the Lakers are right now. Because when I left, the thought of them winning the in-season tournament would have been it would have been
Laughable.
yeah, it would have been laughable. Like I would have made that bet and won a lot of money, you know. So I was shocked. I was shocked. Um,
Well,
so,
see,
and,
here's my thing, and I'm a traditionalist, and I'm sure there's people that disagree with me. But all I see, and I text you this when you got back, because we've been in communication since you've been home.
mhm,
Um, all I
got
see is 7 regular season wins.
it. And that's all that matters, right? That's all that matters. And I think the bells and whistles and bows and stuff around it, yeah, we'll see if it lasts.
Like people were sending me this thing that Kobe Bryant said. This franchise only raises championship banners because we're the Lakers. We don't raise division banners. We don't raise conference championships. We raise world titles.
And so, would you consider? I guess you could say this is the first of, um,
No,
but yeah, no. It just didn't feel like there was a level of buildup or competitiveness that would warrant a gigantic celebration. Um,
why is this not a preseason tournament? This would draw in the preseason.
yeah, I really don't think they're maximizing their their opportunity to do something different. It feels a little forced still from the original point when I was nervous about the whole thing, and then kind of won me over for a bit, and now I'm just down the middle because I missed it all and don't really have a specific take other than um, yeah, it may not quite enough of the clout to the thing to make it matter. Like, did anybody really want it? Like on the Nuggets, were they playing their heart out to win? Probably not. You know?
Probably
uh,
not.
yeah, so it doesn't have that same. It's like the World Cup this year for the the Schroeder Germany gold medal. It's like let's not take that away from them. Let's not take the Lakers wins here away from them. But it also under circumstances where you're not really playing the best of the best. You're playing some of the
And it's
best
the
in the
first month
world.
and it's the first month of the season too.
Yeah. Yeah, it all feels a little like a bit of a long marketing ad or something like that for the NBA slash the face of the NBA, which will always be Lakers. Like for better and for worse, they will be that franchise, just like the Dallas Cowboys are for the NFL. It's just yeah, how it
The
is.
Dallas Cowboys. Be thankful we don't do a football podcast because I can tell you a lot about the Cowboys and how I feel about them. But that's another. That's a
Yeah.
different universe. That's in a
Mm,
parallel universe where we do football content.
yeah. That's
Nevertheless, like nevertheless, for myself, a Lakers fan, you'd think I'd be ecstatic.
that's the thing, right? I don't feel a sense of excitement when I came back to the world of like even on the social media world or just where I look from up here. It's like, yeah, I didn't feel that. I didn't get any tech from you saying like Lakers win. So that told me something there.
Because for me, it's all business.
Mm,
For me, it's all let's get dubs in the season because we want the best playoff positioning we can possibly get.
yeah,
I could care less. I could care less about the NBA Cup.
yeah. And when you said 7 wins, honestly, I thought what you were referring to at first was the Raptors record. I was like, damn, do we only have 7 wins?
No,
And then I
they
had to
only
look.
have they only have 10 wins, by the
Yeah,
way.
at the time it was 9, so it was 2 off, right? It wasn't far off from what it could have been. So uh, that was
Yeah,
a
and
indictment on 2 levels.
now that we've covered the NBA Cup, and the
Mm,
Raptors are 10-13 as of tonight because they got a win over Atlanta,
yeah.
which
Oh,
again they almost lost.
I was confident enough at the 123, 130 mark that I was like, not even the Raptors could screw this up. And knowing that's the one thing you don't say, I was like, but I'm sure of it at this point because there just wasn't enough
Yeah,
physical time left. But it gave you those nerves, this team, like 4 or 5
well
bad
they were
mistakes, many.
they were up by 8 with about 6.5 minutes to go, and they gave up two 3-pointers in 10 seconds, and you're like, oh, here we go. Like
And
it's gonna be the
respectable on
same old
offense.
Raptor team, huh?
Yes, it felt like, yeah, why did you play so hard to give it away like this? You know, there.
I
What was
just
going through
I
your
have
mind?
my stance has not changed on the Raptors one bit.
Yeah. What and for the people at home, where are you sitting with the Raptors from day one
Don't let
to
don't let the mirage fool you. This Raptor team is no good.
okay.
And I don't even expect them to make the play-in tournament. That's where I've been from day one. They need to trade at least two of the three free agents that they have upcoming. And I'll give you an example of how little I think of this team.
All right.
Even though they're only 3 games under 500, Portal had a block tonight in the fourth quarter. And you know what my reaction was? My reaction was simply, Portal, you're not useless.
Was it?
That's
Yeah, and then
literally what
probably
I said.
he had a
That's
great game.
literally what I
He had a
said.
great game. Yeah, and
And
he hit his free throws.
he hit free throws.
Hmm. Like he checked
In
all the
case, in
boxes. If
case
he
you
did
haven't,
that every night, $20 million are earned.
in case you haven't noticed, I kind of don't like Jakob Pertl, people.
He's got the strangest Austrian forehead that just makes him look angry all the time. And man, he gets dunked on a lot. But
He kind of reminds me of Hito Turkoglu, just with his facial expressions.
oh man, yeah,
Like his
yeah,
where
he's
Hito's just like, I'm playing. Because the European players have this knack of like looking like they're just happy to be playing ball.
Nurkic, for
Like they're not
example.
worried about, huh?
I was like, Nurk, for example, he just, generally chill.
Yeah, like
Not hopping around. Yeah.
they're just happy to be there.
Hmm.
That's what it seems like to me.
Wonder what if that's just a cultural thing of not being from the ultra competitive individual America upbringing, or is it just yeah, who knows what it is personality wise or something. But uh, Pirtle is a tough one for me because I see him working hard out there and I see him trying, which is already in my books a great asset.
No, I
But
love the fact that Pirtle's
when he
trying.
misses layups,
Like I'm pretty. This is me going easy on Pirtle because he does give me effort,
yeah, yeah, and
but it's it's hard to justify.
yeah, for this, you know what? He would be similar to Austin Reeves for me in the sense that I'm rooting for him, and on paper, he might be able to justify that money, but certain games, he's a liability that is kind of like it stands out. And
Yeah,
everybody can have that moment or player on the team, but um, he's definitely that for the Raptors. Like when he's on, uh, they seem
he's the
great.
X factor of the Raptors.
Yeah, and Schroeder, honestly, the two European guys. It's like when they're when they're on, Raptors are and I mean everybody was on tonight. It was like the snowball effect. Like when Precious was ripping the ball away and finally just being that extra bit of aggressive that we needed when Scotty was aggressive when he needed to be, when he was defense. They rotated beautifully defensively on that Scotty block there in the fourth quarter. And then he went down and hit the corner three and from a beautiful pass from Flynn. And I was like, okay, this is the Raptors that we know and love and would tune into every week. But unfortunately, we've seen too much of the
We only
season.
get flashes of this team, though. That's the
Yeah,
problem.
that's got to be so hard as Masai and Bobby watching it when it does work. Like, what's harder to watch when it's working or when it's not working at this point in time? It's got to be working.
As a as a fan, can I tell you what's worse? Is actually when it's working.
Yeah, yeah. And I
And
bet
the and the and again, this is me looking too deep into the game because people will say when it's not working. But you know what? It's not working more than it's working, and that's the frustrating part because you know when they're working, it's successful. That's why
man,
it's so frustrating when it's working. You're like, why can't we just do this every night?
yeah, like their potential isn't being tapped at all. And then when you see it tapped, you're like, man, that is borderline championship quality. Like the quality of basketball being played when they're at that is as good as anybody. But the amount of times that they do that is right. It reflects their record where they are. It's they only go up to it, but the fact that they can get up to that is what's infuriating for a lot of people. And I could definitely get on that train of being overly frustrated sometimes as a fan because knowing that there is this little dormant potential.
But remember what I said during the season opener pod? I said I'm worried that this team's gonna play down to its competition.
Mm,
And so far they've proven me right.
yeah, they have a absolute mood meter that like is it matches whatever that is coming at them. But when it is overshot, like when they aren't ready for it, and
Hmm.
they get demolished in the first half. Like when I saw Trey Young had 20 and 10, I was not optimistic for the second half, but that was a great change for the second half, and maybe the coaching has something to do with that. So shout out to the coaching. Shout out to Flynn for redeeming what looked like a pretty shaky first half defensively, and man, it was yeah that dormant potential that can just suddenly be out of nowhere, and this is without Porter and other little pieces that could show up on any given night and give you some of that game juice. So it's heartbreaking, but it was really fun to see at the same time. So we won't. Well, for me at least, I'm not going to throw it out yet because you got to cherish some of these moments, and for what they're
No,
worth.
no, these are the games that the Raptors should win. I'm not frustrated by that. I'm frustrated by that they couldn't put this team away. It shouldn't even have come down to being that close.
Yeah, and that's just a real summary of where the Raptors are overall at. I think and right, doesn't that just sum it up in the micro? Like they had this game by 13, I think, coming into the last few minutes, and they were bodying them. It was their game, and then they
Yeah.
decided to let them back in and just kind of shut down. And
What's
that's
your take on the Raptors after 23 games?
it's it's not an optimistic scenario where you see the lower bowl was probably 50% filled on a Wednesday night, cold December night in Toronto. And I don't know about you, but I'm wanting to watch any NBA game. So that really shows how Toronto as a city feels about the team right now. And it's probably a good indication of where the season's going. But when we see these moments, I'll take those good ones for what they're worth. But your point of it being brutal at the end there is yeah, is legit. Can't argue that.
Well, see, here's the thing, and I'm gonna go back to the Lakers when I bring this up.
Hmm.
Is the sports teams in Toronto, whether it be the Argonauts, the Blue Jays, or the Raptors, they have to be playing well in order to draw people in. They're
Yeah.
not the epicenter. They're not the epicenter of Toronto like the Leafs are, where
Hmm.
the Leafs can be dead last in the league and the people still come.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. Uh, it's just that not to me it's shocking because Toronto's such a diverse population. I would think it was like there would never be a night that didn't have tickets sold out. But yeah, you're right. It's not the epicenter. Tickets are probably super expensive for those lower bowls, and the team isn't drawing that energy of winning. They look like a lottery team for the most part. And ain't nobody
Yeah,
want to pay $200 for a lottery team. You kidding me? That's
and who
insulting.
and who called them who called them a lottery team? This guy did.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they could be a freaking top four team looking to make somebody super upset in the playoffs, or they could be that edge of the lottery, losing to Chicago and doing it that way. So yeah, we'll see which way this next week goes. But hey, first game back for the Raptors on being back, and it was a win. So uh, I'll take it.
We'll take it.
Yeah, yeah. Um,
We'll take
yeah,
the dubs where we can get them.
was there any highlights from the game that caught your eye or worth mentioning? That yeah.
I like the way Scotty stepped into that three in the fourth quarter when they needed him to hit one.
Oh yeah.
I thought that was I thought that was pretty impressive. You
Hmm.
know, everybody will look at the highlight lob pass dunks that we saw earlier in the game, but
Hmm.
I look more at the game as a whole. And to see Scotty step up and hit that three to put the Raptors back up 5 or 6 points, whatever it was at the time, you like to see that because it
Yeah,
happens to the Raptors so often.
big time. That was probably their strongest end of like funny enough, but it is probably one of their stronger last few minutes of the season. And
But
that
wh-
moment was great. And the
that's
OG,
also what we've been harping on is the closeout fact.
yeah, Yeah, the closeout factor for the Raptors has been, and that's an effort thing. That's a chemistry thing that you could chalk up to coaching, being first year. You could chalk it up to a disgruntled star that's on a contract year. But overall, the effort was lacking, and that sucked to watch as a fan. So tonight we saw most of the effort, and that was great. But man, that OG dunk was thunder. Like that was loud and proud and out of nowhere. Like his wingspan, he just threw that thing on, I think, Capella's head like it was his freaking uh, WWE SmackDown final move. And it
Mm-hmm.
was a mean dunk. It was great to see OG do that, man. He needs to do that more. I'm here for it.
And to finish up on the Raptors, I
Mm.
want to be wrong. I want so badly to be wrong.
Hey, I'm here
But every
to
night,
put that hole out in the dark times, put that light in there and say the Raptors could compete for number one if.
no, they can. They can if they want to bring the effort. But you know what? The Raptors are young and they don't bring the lunch bucket every night. I'm sorry to say that's just the fact of the matter.
And it's almost like a boxer's first fight. When I think of Ngannou and that one, it's like the first season as a head coach. Like without Kawhi Leonard and a built championship team, to be a first year head coach and do anything serious is really not expected. Like you're not expected to be able to create perfect chemistry and leadership and plays all in your first year, and there's going to be growing pains. So he's got that, but he seems like a pretty positive coach and somebody that's really like a professional about his life and really loves the game. So I like seeing the Raptors have organization wise good guy that way. He's might probably
Hmm.
have some rust on all sorts of things, but he's there. He's showing up and he looks like he's super into it every single game and. Uh, Yeah, it's nice to see, man. It really is.
I believe in the Raptors' potential. I just don't think it's gonna happen this season.
Yeah, I mean, you got to be a pretty crazy believer to think that there's anything. And I'll do that just for the sake of it because I can see it. I could see it. If the chemistry and it was like a Disney movie where they really rallied around each other and made blood oath and like we're gonna do this together. They could probably do it. Uh, for that many grown men millionaires to put that much effort into a non-ego thing, it's some Phil Jackson material. So we'll probably see a bit more of this, a bit more of that, and see Pascal Siakam get created.
Yeah, and that's the thing. But how long do you think the Raptors wait to make a decision?
This is what must kill them. Having a game like tonight where he shows up and he's just that dude, 5 for 6 from three, buckets when you need him. Um, Confident, athletic, running the post. Like you start getting angry because you're like, damn, that's a dude, but it's hard to give that up and not find something in replacement. So what are you going to get for Pascal becomes the question. What do you think we get? I could see him fitting on Golden State, but what do they got? You know. uh,
Speaking of the Warriors, now's a good time as any to number one tell people to subscribe and hit the like button and all that jazz that I forget to do in
yeah,
every episode.
give us some
But
feedback. No, yeah.
drop the feedback in the comments. Yep,
Mm-hmm.
we can take it. We're grown men.
We're looking more.
Also, if there are topics you want us to touch on, let us know in the comment section below.
Heck yeah, heck yeah.
Speaking of topics that's gonna take a minute, Draymond Green. You led me right to it, and as is tradition when I'm steamed, I'm gonna hand the floor to G first because I'm gonna go. I'm
Yeah, so
gonna
I
go in a
heard the
minute.
best comparison was probably from somebody describing that dude in your crew in high school who anytime you went to a party, anytime you went anywhere, you just knew he was gonna get into a fight. And at a certain point, you just start really not letting him make the decisions. He's not the one that gets to say where you're going or what's happening. He's just there. It feels like Draymond's that dude a little bit, where he's just there now, causing trouble, and he doesn't have that same like um, I don't know, tough factor where it was like, yeah, this dude's just fighter, man. And it's like, oh, this guy again. He just nonstop, and you start getting exhausted. And I feel like the Warriors are exhausted. The audience is exhausted. Um, I was watching the crazy, silly, stupid sport of power slap on the weekend when I was uh, resting and coming back, and it reminded me of that. It was like that was such a wild wind up directly to a dude's face who's just not sure what's going on. Um, it was ugly, man, and it looked dangerous. Like after watching Power Slap, you can knock somebody out with a slap, man. Like you can knock a
Yeah.
man unconscious, and he could have knocked Nurkic unconscious, man. Imagine what that would have looked like for the NBA if there was just a 7-foot European dude on the ground out cold. Like, how do you fix that as a live TV thing? The risk is too great. It's it's laughable, but then like concerning of that like you
No,
he's not
no,
violent
it's
gonna like
always concerning
but he might
because look,
accidentally knock him out.
we want our teams to compete, but we don't want it to get ugly. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's like you want to go, you want to have some fun, but you don't want it to get ugly. And he's starting to make things ugly, man. It's
But
just,
you
yeah,
know what? You know, it's a funny thing that you brought up the friend from high school that always gets into trouble thing.
yeah,
Because
it's
you know what
funny.
Draymond, you know what Draymond, you know the friend that Draymond reminds me of.
Mm,
That friend that you bail out of trouble time after time after time again,
yeah,
and he
yeah,
get and you give him this speech, and he goes, "I promise it won't happen again."
yeah. It
And
was
his
just that.
behavior will change for a little while, and then he'll do something, and he'll be like, "Oh, dude, I need your help." And then you get to the point where you don't want to bail him out. You know
And
what?
he's
He
young,
reminds me
so
of that
man.
friend.
Yeah, yeah, exactly, man.
Like, gee, that's ridiculous.
He-
He
he's
basically
he's
throat punched the guy.
Yeah, is there anybody left out there that's, like, expecting him to change? Because he's doubled down so many times on, "I do not apologize. I do not feel
Y-
bad." Like, he can't suddenly now just apologize because nobody's gonna believe him. He's told the world over and over and over again, "I'm a little crazy, and that's why I'm good, but I'm not gonna change." And it's it was, it was kinda like, "Oh, that's his edge. That's crazy Draymond." And now it is like more the crazy side than the like athletic competitor side. And it, if I was Steph Curry right now, I'd be wondering what the heck happened. Do I have to retire and then come back with a different team? Like, what is this? What do I have to do right now? Because I would be probably as sad as Steph Curry could be. you know?
Well, see, here's the thing, Draymond, Dre. Okay, my turn. I've been
Line up.
waiting for this all pod.
Break out your golf
Dre,
tee.
you are the biggest. You are the second biggest loser in the NBA. And I don't mean loser in personality wise, because I don't know you as a person. I wouldn't judge you that way. But you
Mm,
have the world at your fingertips. You are a four-time champion. You are playing with two of the greatest shooters in the history of the NBA. You are a defensive stalwart, and I'm building him up right now because I'm gonna tear him down in about 20 seconds. You're a freaking idiot. You punched your own teammate. You kicked LeBron in the groin, costing your team an NBA title. You've done so much damage to hurt this franchise. When you hit your own teammate, they traded him away and they paid him hush money before that.
Hmm.
And until somebody can convince me otherwise, I can call it hush money because Jordan Poole's not worth $100 million. I don't care. You can't.
Not one.
That's worse than the Pirtle contract.
Dude,
You caused that.
I would take Austin
Ray, you
Reeves
caused
over.
that.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. I would take Austin Reeves over Poole any day, type of thing, man. Like, yeah, no.
But I ain't done yet. No,
Mm.
because this ain't the last time. You choked somebody out this season, dragging him down the floor.
Like in the most, like, again, WWE style, like straight up behavior that is designed to be in a different arena, you know?
And you know what, Dre? I will even say this. There was a point in time you were intimidating. There was a point in time nobody wanted to play against you. Now you're just an old man. Now you're just old. Your beard is getting gray. You're worried more about your podcast than your basketball team in your basketball career. I told you I was gonna go in on this, G. I hope I'm not taking up too much time here.
No, man,
But
I'm for it. You know I'm.
but Dre, listen to me. Your career is over. Nobody wants you. Your own team only tolerates you because you're on their team. Anybody who signs you after this would be foolish. And you deserve your indefinite suspension, and you're lucky they didn't kick you out of the league. Signed sincerely, the Mo Money Sports Network and Mo Money himself. And if you don't like it, too damn bad.
Yo, drop the mic. You know where it is. it's it's burned, and man, nothing can be disputed in any of what you're saying. The first thing you said, right, is like the L word, loser. It's like you don't want to use that on somebody, but when somebody consistently is displaying loser behavior, like not loser in the personalities, like you said, not loser in the like games, but just like doing stuff that brings down others around you that care about you and you care about, to the extent that the consequences are too great, it's outweighed the benefits, and there's no longer a balance in the force. And like you're saying, he's not intimidating anymore. He's not. All of that's true. What do you expect when a dog gets in a corner that doesn't even know how to like play properly? He's just gonna lash out because he just is at his last sort of thing, and he's lashing out, and that's dangerous, to be honest. It's Mike Tyson bite your ear off time period, where it's like, man, this dude, it doesn't like to lose, and he has no other way to stay winning. Um, he's going to do something else scary that won't be necessarily the he'll make it casual, but it'll be another thing where you're like, man, if that hit 2 other inches to the left, that would just blank. And that's just loser behavior. Like, you don't want that. You don't need that. Nobody wants that. So yeah, it makes me sad in the long run that it's not anything
It
anybody
makes
can
me
control.
sad too. It makes
Yeah.
me sad too because here's the thing. You're a future Hall of Famer. But I will tell you this. Mark my words, Dre. You'll get in, but it won't be. They're gonna make you wait, buddy.
Yeah.
You could have went from a first ballot Hall of Famer to now they're gonna make you wait 5 years, maybe 10. They will make you wait to put you in the Hall of Fame because they're trying to put as much time and distance away from your reputation as they can before they put you in the Hall of Fame.
You know what? And it's probably when I'm thinking about this here, I'm like, this isn't just a Draymond failure. This is a whole organization failure too. That they pumped him up to the point of um, thinking that any of this would be acceptable past one or two strikes. They've co-signed essentially everything and accepted what he's told them straight up. I'm crazy and I'm not going to change because that's why I'm good. They're like, all right, let's see what
You're
happens.
not
I
good.
mean, and so I'll give him this. He was honest and he's been honest the entire time. And it's not a pleasant honest. It's not an ethical honest. It's not a moral honest, but he's honest.
Look, look, I'm honest too, but not to the detriment of the podcast.
Exactly. He goes to the loser behavior of it, right? Where it becomes down, you're downgrading your product, you're downgrading your value, not like there's nothing that's to gain out of this situation other than
Because
uh, yeah,
remember, I said you're becoming a loser in the basketball sense.
yeah,
I
yeah.
made sure to clarify that because I don't want this to come across as a Draymond attack personally because I don't know Draymond personally. Draymond could be the nicest guy in the world off the basketball court, but you are displaying, at least in your basketball career, nothing but loser behavior.
Yeah, it's like, could he though? Could he be that good of a guy out the court, man? Like,
Probably
oh,
not.
here's the other thing I was gonna say. It's a bit of a be-made move that he um, did this to Nurkic, who he knew in his heart of hearts of hearts would not jump up and try to get him back. Because Nurkic isn't that dude. He was raised in a different world. Let me tell you, if that was Isaiah Stewart, we might not see Draymond Green for the rest of the season because a whole brawl would have broken out in a way that the NBA would have lost their minds over. They would have ended his season right then and there because it would have been a full brawl if it was somebody that was from the same neighborhood as Draymond. You know what I mean?
Here's
Like
the question.
Nurkic, he knew it was not going to go pandemonium with Nurkic. But let me tell you, man, you must have a few dudes that you're thinking of in the league right now that if it was them and he suckered them like that.
Imagine he tried this with Dylan Brooks.
Thank you. Think of that. And ooh, it would have been a brawl, dude. It would have been a full brawl. And the NBA is just playing with so much fire with that. I think from a business perspective, I'm guessing 10 to 15 games.
At least.
Yeah. Like they've got other products to sell. Steph is going to be there, and this is just a bad look that, like Ja Morant, they're just going to make go away for a while. And Draymond
And
doesn't have.
that's why I said second biggest loser in the NBA because Ja is number one.
You're going to leave Ben Simmons off the podium here?
No, he gets third. He
I
gets
put
third,
him on
but
the top. He's the slouchiest. He's the slouchiest of them all. Those two at least tried.
yes, but those two sabotage their own careers worse than he has.
Yeah, no, those are the sadder ones. Yeah, absolutely, man. And when is Ja coming back, by the way, just on that note?
I don't know. I heard Ja punched a kid during a pickup basketball game.
Is that the most recent news? Like, I haven't heard anything about it. I'm just going to quickly Google that out of just legit
No, I don't
curiosity.
know if it's recent, but I hope it's not recent. I hope it's an old story that my buddy just told me about.
Man. So he
See,
shared a major announcement about return. This was 1 day ago. And that's where he
okay, what
made
does
the
it say?
like you said. Yeah, okay. So what is that going to mean? That they might instill a new penalty type of thing?
Hmm?
I'm just trying to see what that means. Oh, 1 week away and he's back. That's what this Sport Illustrated is saying. So
He's coming back next
mark your
week.
calendar. December 19th. So that's less than a week. Yeah.
That's like 6 days away. But I swear my buddy told me he like
Yeah.
got into an altercation with a 17-year-old kid on the basketball court
So I think he
for,
just
for playing
admitted to
pickup.
that. That was from way back. I think he just took ownership of it, which was probably part of his um,
That's probably part
ma-
of his you either do this or you're not coming back.
that thing. Yes.
They probably told him you either do this or you're not coming back. But I go back to the
Straight.
conversation I had with my buddy.
Mm.
Because I asked my buddy again this morning actually. Because I remember asking him this before and I said, do you think Ja wants to be NBA superstar or do you think Ja wants to be on the block with his boys? And without hesitation, he said Ja wants to be on the block with his boys.
And I think he's now had a long time to think about it for real now, where he's had adults come in the room and talk to him over the last few months and be like, all right, when you make your decision come December, just know X, Y, Z. So I think he's been given a chance to legitimately think about his life and consider, like, okay, I know I've been wanting to do this block thing and try to live two lives, or it's my right to live this life. I think he's now been forced to like sit with the psychiatrist, sit with the therapist, sit with the people where they're like, what do you actually want to do? And if he's coming back, let's assume that it's to play basketball and start cutting some dunk stuff, because uh, that's a long time to think about what you've done. We all remember timeout. There's a certain level of a reflection that can occur for one. Um,
And I don't want this to come off as I don't like Ja.
he's
Ja, I'm rooting for you, buddy.
yeah, he's a young dude with so much potential that is a joy to watch and could bring the next generation of basketballers in, just believing they could, like Mike, when they fly through the sky like Mike. Ja Morant, he makes you believe in miracles. It's it's ridiculous the things that guy can do. So if he comes back focused and ready to rock, I am there for it. Let's see how it goes. But um, boy, yeah, talk about two interesting cases, man. If they're going to suspend 25 games for playing with a water pistol, they got to suspend Draymond for like assaulting. Like, I'm no Nurkic fan. He's a slow turnover machine, and nothing against him either. But damn, again, if I was Dylan Brooks or Dennis Rodman of the past, or Charles Oakley, or just
Oh,
guys
can
like
you
that.
imagine if you did that? Charles Oakley would. I can't say that on the pod.
Exactly. And Draymond he's not going to now at this point have a jaw moment where he can reflect and go, maybe I do need to change. He doesn't have that option. Draymond is at the end, and he's going down like a SOB that's just like, I'd rather go down loud than quiet. And
Yeah.
that's not good. That's not good for anybody.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
On the other end of basketball news, I saw Kawhi Leonard is starting to make some noise. And I know he's been one of our favorite topics to go back and forth on this season. And, you know what? Love to hear it. Haven't seen anything about it, but Kawhi, I'm always there for some top shelf, high level play from Kawhi because he makes the game look so easy. Kind of like Jokic, where it's like you're in the matrix and you're seeing things, and it's just awesome. We'll see how. And he played a back to back. Actually, played a back to back. That was exciting.
And my buddy keeps telling me, and he does this with every Clipper game. He's like, Kawhi and Paul George haven't missed a game yet, and I'm like, that's not the flex you think it is.
Yeah, it's a ticking time bomb with the same level of Anthony Davis, right? It's like one tweak of ankle, one one hit of the knee that's just too much is enough to send the whole thing down the tubes because it requires
One hit of
Kawhi.
the one hit of the knee, especially one hit of the knee, especially could end Kawhi's season.
Yeah.
So let's just.
It's unfortunate, truly, that he doesn't have the same legs anymore. But he may prove people wrong and have a good run this season, and that would be awesome to see. But yeah, there's no reason to be betting any money on it. There's a
No,
lot of
sir.
other, Minnesota being one. Probably not actually going to be doing anything substantial in the playoffs, but loving their energy, Anthony Edwards and all of that. Yeah, I'm still catching up on games and highlights. I don't know about every team, but what have been some of the interesting teams or shifts in standings, or any teams or players standing out?
I ask you a question.
Hmm.
How is it the Miami Heat can be such a turnover squad, like a turnover personnel wise, and still be in the mix every year? The Miami Heat, and I'm
They're
bringing this up because I'm thinking about Rolla here, who is kind of like the a proud member of Heat Nation. But how
okay.
are they in the mix every year?
Grit and talent that they don't bring out until the perfect time. They know when to bring out their talent and know how to keep competitive until then. It's almost like an art form, like Jimmy just saving his energy for like 4 transcendent games in the playoffs when you need them most. He's gonna drop that DOS tank, and they just know how to play those odds really quickly. I think. Uh, what else?
We have some breaking NBA news tonight.
No way. Is it the number? Is it the number? Are we going to be breaking it here live? Uh-oh.
No. We do have a Bucks franchise record that has been set though,
Oh, okay.
as the Greek Freak has dropped 64 points in a win tonight over the Indiana Pacers.
Whoa. 64 from a guy that bare shoots threes.
64 from Giannis Antetokounmpo, a new Bucks franchise record. And the Bucks win 140 to 126. And the buddy who sent me the photo said, I like this. He said, "No Dame time needed."
Not tonight. Not tonight, man. That's ridiculous. Between him and Dame, they could score enough points in one NBA game to win the NBA game.
But I thought we should throw that breaking news in there that Giannis has put in 64 tonight for the Bucks.
Oh, and we do have news on the Draymond front.
What is it?
Do you want me? It's not a number though.
What?
It's an even more, it's a harsher than a number. It's what
The
Ja
only
got.
way that could happen, huh?
It's indefinitely suspended indefinitely.
Indefinitely.
That could be the rest of the season if they decide that it's not worth the dollars and cents. The risk has now, like, I'm sure there's literal data guys that have been like, we crunched numbers. We will lose money if this guy's in the NBA right now. And it's too much of a business risk legitimately for them to have him play. So he might be done, man. He might be done. And then retire. Like, this could be it. Like,
You'll be podcast man from now on.
And I don't know if people are really going to be super tuned in because it's such an ugly exit. Like, it's not the fun, want to hear what this guy has to say exit. It's like, geez, that guy went down in a sea fire, just burned it to the ground. No. I mean,
I don't know what to make of Draymond Green. I wish I did.
I think he's one of those dudes that's so confident, it's infectious when you're around them, and it is quite fun. And if he's taking care of his family and his friends his whole life, you respect that. But the switch where that confidence becomes megalomaniac and also having an aspect of I can do violence when necessary, that's a combination of qualities in a friend that I wouldn't be super stoked on. You know?
No. And because I'll take it back to us. I don't want to have to pull G off the ledge every 2 weeks.
Yeah, yeah. And it doesn't matter how, got to the ledge. It's the fact that somebody's having to pull you back from it each time. And it's the league, it's the co-star, it's the Steve Kerr. Like Steve Kerr seemed like the most pissed off I've seen him maybe ever since like just
As he should be.
oh, he was so just next question, F this. Like, this is unacceptable. Um, Indefinitely. That's a big word in the NBA because Ja was indefinitely for a while, wasn't he?
Yeah, but that's the time they only gave him 8 games or 6 games or whatever it was. That wasn't much of an indefinite suspension.
Oh, so maybe this is a sneaky way around it that they're going to try to do lower than 10, but just use indefinitely to quiet people down right now.
I don't know because remember, Ja made an apology to the commissioner during that.
And that's the thing.
Now,
It's like, yeah.
now I'm gonna ask you this question: do you see Draymond apologizing to the commissioner on any level for anything he's done?
No, and that's the thing where he's like, this, like me or hate me, I'm honest. It's like, well, honestly, you're leaving people very few options to be the like category, because you're just making their
Well,
lives miserable. So no matter how cool the
well,
talk is, no matter how chill the dude is, on the basic day-to-day of my life, you're making it miserable if I'm commissioner, if I'm head coach, or if I'm Steph Curry. That's the whole thing. You're making my
well,
life.
that's the thing. I'm brutal. I'm brutally honest too, but not to the detriment of what I'm doing.
It's a level of recklessness with him that I think everybody's kind of pointing to, right? It's like we all have levels of different aspects of this, but like the recklessness of it, the way he just swings it around like a freaking hammer that,
Like,
yeah.
I know people enjoy my rants, okay, but if I
It's
put
like,
a rant in every but if I put a rant in every episode, it loses its effectiveness. I'm only gonna rant if there's something to rant about.
man, I just keep thinking about it being somebody like Isaiah Stewart or somebody who really doesn't like Draymond Green and is from the similar background, and just what would have
Yeah.
happened to the NBA last night. Like, I hadn't
Well,
quite thought about it.
I keep thinking like you mentioned the name Charles Oakley. If he did that to Charles Oakley, I don't know what happened to the Draymond Green.
That's what I'm saying, and or that court, or that day in NBA history. Like, it goes into Malice in the Palace potential, uh, just with the wrong guy, which could have been a rookie. Let's say he hit the rookie, the one rookie from the hood, like the hood that you just, not from Florida, not that dude, and he just snapped and went after Draymond, like Isaiah did after LeBron. Like, if somebody can go after LeBron and chase him around the freaking turnstiles and in between tunnels to the point of like 7 people had to hold him back. If Draymond hit the wrong dude, there's no saying that he could have gotten out of it. You know what I'm saying?
You know what though? This is
Yeah.
this is actually, I'm gonna 40% of this is Adam Silver's fault.
Yeah, that's sort of the co-blame thing, right? They've allowed it to go so long without being serious about it. Like they've not
No,
taken
and
it
that,
seriously.
and that's the thing. Like in hockey, if you pulled a stunt like this, you get dealt with on the ice by the other team's enforcer,
Mm,
right? Nobody's been able to hold um Dre accountable for
mhm.
the things he's done over the years.
Yeah,
Nobody's gone and smacked him upside the head.
not yet, not yet. And that's probably what the NBA is most worried about is what happens when somebody really gets under his skin now as a tactic to just do, to get him out of the game. Like, somebody's now going to use that as strategy. Like, hey, if we get upset one more time, he's out of the game. We don't have to worry about that aspect. So there's going to be people that are just like, yeah, I'll do it tonight. I'll try to get under his skin. I'll take the punch, whatever. Um, Man, and or it's somebody that's like, I want Draymond. You know what I mean? Charles Oakley. New Charles Oakley comes in, and it's the wrong game, and it's the wrong night. So that's such a risk for the NBA to bring him back. And you're right that they've kept it going this long that it's like Frankenstein. Dr. Frankenstein, whatever made that monster. Um, his thing just couldn't contain it. It had a life
See
of
what
its own.
see what happened was we can't take Draymond too far from the game because the Warriors are in the middle of a dynasty and the league doesn't want to ruin it.
And you know what? I
They
think the league saw last night that the dynasty is over.
No, but what I'm saying is the league back then didn't want to take away its own dynasty.
Yeah. Yeah. I think they've
And
been
so they let
waiting and waiting and waiting. Not, like you're saying.
yeah, like they waited for this team to implode and now that it's imploded they're taking Draymond away. They would have
Exactly.
they would have they would have never done this if the Warriors were second in the West. Because they'd be like they need Draymond. But because the Warriors are struggling, it only amplifies that Draymond is the cause of it. So they can say indefinite suspension. Because you only get, what do we always say? Level of production dictates how much people will put up with you.
Mm, very, very true. Very true. Just look at Rudy Gobert. He's full-time defensive player. Otherwise, nobody wants to hang out with that dude for a few years there. Just had that reputation. But dude was
Yeah.
the defensive player of the year, man. Um,
And
I'm a
you know,
number
I
of
was
guys.
talking to a buddy of mine who is a Golden State Warriors supporter, and he gave me an interesting. He didn't give me anything Golden State would get back, so maybe I'll pose this to you. But he was talking about trading Dre and Clay and just rebuilding around Steph.
Only team that would do that is somebody that's in the lottery contention right now and is able to flip those contracts into max space, all these other things. Like it would have to be pure money because both those dudes, I think, are done. That I'd say with a sad hand to Clay and kind of a weird mixed bag with Draymond, but like Clay's done, man. Like, you kind of have to give that one away, right? And rebuild around Steph is your only option. To delay any longer or to try to hope for anything else is crazy. Essentially, it's right now addition by subtraction. If they can get rid of the noise, Draymond, and the non-production of Clay, their bench was great. But Dembski, Kuminga, Moody, those guys have been playing awesome. Chris Paul,
But is it sustainable for the long term Warriors success?
not with those two pieces just being dead weight. Like to just have legacy pieces of Draymond and Clay being like in a Udonis Haslem role that he was in his last 2 years, where he's essentially just on the bench to be the moral support, the legacy guy. Like that's a lot of money and stuff. Like it's two different categories there. So I think they're really in trouble, man, unless they have a team that's willing to take on Draymond.
I think so.
And the only
Yeah,
way a
but
team can take him on is likely.
you'd have to do like they do in hockey and throw in a sweetener, as they say.
Oh, it would have to be something pretty darn sweet. Because I think it'd be great for the NBA to be able to build around Steph some more, but I think the numbers and logistics of getting rid of Clay and Draymond right now, like where could you even put them? Like Detroit, you'd be going down that list. I see Siakam in Golden State for some reason just as a perfect fit for Steph.
I think that's a good call.
Like he's a humble dude.
I really do.
He's somebody that's been there. He can put in 30 and 7 on any given night if he really wants, and he's not having to be that dude. He doesn't have to be the leader. Believe in me and we'll make it guy, because he's not that. And yeah, that would just work for them. But I don't know what Toronto would be looking for him, or able to even get. So complicated business, this NBA. Man.
And I wouldn't want Draymond because he'd infect the younger guys.
So I think the deal with that one would be, all right, Adam Silver, we'll help you get out of this bind, but you have to suspend Draymond for the rest of the season. So we'll trade for him, but then we're flipping him like a Chris Paul situation. So we'll take him for the season on paper, but you can't let him come back. That's what's going to happen if he gets traded, I think.
Well, that's what happened with Dillon Brooks. He wore out his welcome in Memphis.
Yeah, and to be fair, Memphis was pretty toxic on a number of levels with what they had going on and their little red shooters and stuff like that. Like they had those laser pointers.
It reminded me of the mom and pop shop.
Was that?
They remind me of a mom and pop shop, the way they run things. It's really weird.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what the other exciting pieces would be around that, but Memphis will be a whole different team with Ja Morant on it, man. Oh, that'll be fun to watch him come back, see what he's able to do with those legs. Has he been working out? Has he been watching tape? Has he been getting his mind right? Is he going to be the hottest thing in the NBA when he comes back? Who knows?
That's the thing. It's not 2K. You just don't get to put up numbers because you feel like it.
Yeah. There'll be a. I was just thinking about Udonis Haslem being that guy that Draymond, it was like, let's say Nurkic, but it was Haslem. That's the dude that would have just like ended the NBA right there. Like that would have been, yeah, that would have been it.
Yeah. It's been a strange week in the NBA.
Super strange week. I've yet to see the Phoenix Suns be fully healthy still. Like kind of just crazy how that is ongoing.
Well, that's my thing. Like when we got to the quarterfinals of the NBA Cup tournament, I was like, Phoenix is going to beat us, and that'll be the end of it.
Not so.
And it wasn't.
No, it's bizarre. I'm looking at, they lost tonight against Brooklyn, and oh wow, Nick lost too. Yeah, Phoenix is a strange team that way. They've got all the potential, but you can't play Clippers ball and have a team that comes together at playoff time. It didn't work in Brooklyn. Won't work in Phoenix. Everybody said on the scouting report, hey, wouldn't it be nice if Bradley Beal, Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, and Eric Gordon didn't have one of the longest lists of injuries in the NBA, but they do. And it's probably gonna reflect on the season of that, and it has. So yeah, I wouldn't be buying any Phoenix Suns championship stock right now. I think we could say that for safe. Actually, using that, if you had to buy one team stock in a championship, who would it be? Who would it be? You can think on it. Hmm. Wow, they're comparing it to Gilbert Arenas. Hmm. Well, folks, it might be time for us to all catch a few Z's and watch a
I
few
think so.
highlights.
I think I'm fading here.
You know, it's like, yeah, I think I've
4:30 comes
drained all the
early, brother.
basketball talk out of 'em.
4:30
That's
comes early.
I know, and let's call it there and put a pin in it till next time.
You bet. And we'll more than likely we'll get back into our Tuesday night schedule,
You know
and
it, man.
we'll post this Thursday evening. I know we try to shoot
Yeah.
for daytime, but you can say I'm in no condition to edit right now. So this will be
Yeah.
up tomorrow evening.
Yeah, and we're breaking the news in a sense too with Draymond. He's out indefinitely, folks. He's out indefinitely. Uh,
Couldn't be happier.
yeah.
And as you know, and I'm sure you've missed this over the last couple of weeks. Until next time, may your ego come from a place that keeps you humble. I'm Mo Money.
Mm,
Mamba out.
mm.